about it last night. And I think what we've done is we've started to have a conversation around, we call it informal sport or non-competitive sport or beyond competitive sport. And this is really the first national forum that we have started to throw these ideas around, which is fantastic, and it's a great opportunity. We have been talking about it at Sport New Zealand. I've heard some comments that, we have to talk about this now because Sport New Zealand is going to tell us we have to do it. Well, that's absolutely not the case. There's a whole lot of great myths around it, and it's quite good having you on the room and we can do it. I think a better title for this session is about influencing sports to meet the needs of young people. My concern is that a lot of the conversation we hear is about changing from working in formal organised environments to an informal sports setting, which is quite wrong. And we need to start considering the sporting experiences of young people and who provides them and how do we meet them. And it's not about every organisation taking a jump to the right or to the left because a new idea has come up around informal sport. Informal sport's not new. In fact, it's been around since caveman. Just because we suddenly start talking about it, thinking about it, doesn't mean we need to own it, control it, deliver it, and the organisations that we deal with all don't have to do all the same thing. I think that's what our role is. Quite often our role is described as increasing participation. It's actually to enhance the sports experience for young people. And the way we might do that is about skill development. It might be about working with organisations that impact on the attitudes. It might be helping parents. It might be access. But if we were to do that, then we need to do some things. We need to understand how young people want to do or access that sport experience. And that's quite a big question. We started talking about some of that today, or the last couple of days. We've listened to some young people talk, and that, the videos this morning were fantastic, and they might have resonated with you. They're a little bit of the picture. And when we start to try and develop that understanding, we need to talk to far more young people. And we need to talk to the young people in the environments that we're going to be operating in. Because the environment at Raglan is not something that I'm going to deal with in Wellington, for example. So we need to understand how young people want to access an experience and how they do currently. We need to understand then what we need to do to equip them to be able to access the experience. And I use the term equip a lot because I think we tend to think about fundamental skill development or the basic sports skills, and we talk about packages of programs. In fact, all we're doing is we're providing young people with the tools to be able to access a sport experience at any point in their life. And increasingly, I don't see a great distinction between young people's participation and adult participation, really. And that's a whole separate conference. But if we provide a platform and an experience for young people that is of such good quality, then they will choose to access a sport opportunity at some stage in their life. And sometimes that's when they are young, because there's a raft of sport opportunities available. And there might be fewer opportunities available, or they might be harder to access when they get older. But in fact, what we're providing to them when they're young is the precursor, it's the thing, is the determinant, if you like, one of the major determinants of them picking up sport later on in life. So we need to understand what we need to do for young people. We need to understand who can and should support them in order to do that. You might see where I'm going with it. So, what do we have to do? How do we influence sports to change? The real question is who should be involved in this process. We're not just talking about sports, because the providers of a sport experience for young people are national and regional sports organisations, clubs, schools, private organisers, private providers, parents, peers. So when we talk about casual, informal or less competitive sport, in fact it doesn't have to have an organisational structure attached to it. Quite often it's delivered by our individuals. I think we need to understand who can and should support them. We need to understand how effective are those organisations at doing that, and how effective could they be at doing that, and should they even be doing it. So what I'm keen to do is kind of just bring us back up to a reflection about, rather than, if you like, driving into a space where we have started thinking about the space, we've moved to who's doing stuff in it and how do we change them to be able to do it better. We actually need to think about how effective are those organisations already, and then we just need to start thinking about what the roles and responsibilities might be. What's their role in providing the support to young So, that was all I really wanted to say. I am fascinated with this area. I think it's an area that we will explore more about in the future. But I would hope that we don't take a 90-degree or 180-degree view, if you like, and say, right, we're going to move away from formal organised sport because we're now talking about informal sport. That's not the way of the world. And young people will access a range of sport opportunities in an informal or a formal setting through schools or clubs or home or communities. And we can't lose sight of the fact that from a participant's point of view, we need to make sure that the quality of those experiences is consistently high. And some organisations that we work with can provide things in different settings. So anyway, I won't speak much more. We're going to have a couple of workshop questions after this, but I'm keen to let Kenny Halliday from New Zealand Golf and Andrew Himmins from the City Council come and share their experiences about the experiences they have created within their areas of work.
Superb. So that's the majority that haven't heard of snag, not playing the snag. So really, there's going to be a bit of an awareness of what snag is and where New Zealand golf and snag are coming to a heads of agreement. So this is good for us. We're looking at you thinking, right, they're prime. We're going to prime you now, as well as introduce you to some of basically a pilot project we ran. You can sit down now. Thank you. So my name is Kenny Halliday, and previously, before, I'm actually at New Zealand Golf now. I'm the National Community Golf Manager. And prior to that, I was in your world. I was in the RST world. So I was down at Sport Wanganui with all the Wanganui, or Wanga Vegas as they call it. And then I moved up to Harbour Sport. Moved from Harbour Sport, and now I'm at New Zealand Golf. So I suppose when I'm talking today, and some of the thinking around where myself and David have got to is taking into account the Regional Sports Trust world, where you're now moving to with regards to support and services for your communities, as well as, I suppose, coming to agreements with national bodies as well. And we're one of those new 7 that are coming on board, but with no expectations. You know, we're on board, but we're really there. We'll go as quickly as the Regional Sports Trusts and the regional sports organisations want us to go. So I'll let David introduce himself.
And I'm David Thompson from Snag Golf New Zealand, and I hold the licence for the snag equipment coming in to New Zealand and Australia, and we've been in New Zealand now for the last 2 years, operating mainly in schools and working with a number of clubs around the country.
Fantastic. So obviously when we were invited to come and present on influencing sports to change, we actually took it as more exactly where Roger went with it, as in it's not about changing sports, it's really how we can address the needs of the youth and use the research that's out there, but also use the personnel and the professional people on the ground, i.e. you guys, as well as our regional people, as well as our golf clubs, and actually start listening to them and the children. So that's the angle we took from it. We're going to introduce you to something that we've piloted, and we are looking at trying to roll this out in 5 different venues throughout New Zealand, but we'll just give you some of the key learnings, where we come to the idea, and really we want to open the floor for questions. And if you've heard me present before, I don't mind people jumping in and putting their hand up and just asking questions throughout. I think we can roll with it and see where it goes. I'd hate for you to sit there for 2 or 3 minutes and have a burning question and then forget it like I do very often. So what we did is we got all the research. There's plenty of research out there, and Roger and his team, and it's all out there, but rather than just read it and go, that's nice to know, we actually start to think, well, we need to use this stuff. We need to use what the research is telling us in a more meaningful way than what we have done before. So we just picked a few of the statistics here, and this is the one that we've pulled out from New Zealand Golf. Is you can't really see the numbers, it doesn't matter, but kids are liking sport less and less as they get older, and obviously there's lots of reasons for that, but I think the question for us is, what are we doing to make this happen with regards to sport delivery, our products and services? What are we doing to make it seems to be, it could be lack of fun as they get older, more competitive? We don't know. So we need to look at our programs and our products and services, our partners, trying to create something where you keep that fun element, you keep that informal play, or whatever it is. We're doing something that's having an effect. We haven't got the answer for that, but we're definitely looking at how we can make sure that we listen to the kids and that, so they can enjoy sport more and more rather than less and less. So another stat, obviously, we looked at this statistic around mucking around, and I love the phrase. It's very youth, and it's really, we think golf, and if you think about traditional golf, it's very formal, it's very regimented. There's lots of rules and regulations. There's etiquette. There's all those things, and we think, holy moly, for golf, we're sticking up a lot of barriers here. We definitely not making it easy to get into, and most of the time you can only play golf in a golf club. And there's a lot of old people in golf clubs don't want to see any young youth in there. And let's not hide from the fact they don't see them because they're running businesses as well as member-based organisations. So a typical traditional youth membership, the average out in New Zealand is $50 for a year golf membership, which is really cheap. So obviously you imagine your golf managers, they're thinking, well, they're not going to help the bottom line. You've also got your existing members going, I can't believe they get to play the golf course for only $50 and I've just paid $800. So we've got all those challenges within golf. So we're looking at this mucking around and how we provide, I suppose, a bit of a service and a product out there for kids just to come and adults actually, just to come and have a go. We'll give you the equipment, just go do what you need to do. So this one on their own is I picked out as well. It's an interesting worldwide trend, and you look at some of the individualised sports that are growing in favour, and there's lots of reasons for that, lots of social impacts that are happening to kids, but I think with the youth that they're relying on a coach turning up, which is, we know is quite hard to get coaches, volunteers, we're waiting for teammates who are time poor, and we're looking at all of those other areas that team sports, and we usually say, oh, we're the poor cousin as an individual sport. Actually, for me, it's a huge advantage. Golf, you can turn up the majority of the time whenever you want, you can play at your own pace, you can play whenever you want, you can play lots of different venues. So we actually see that this playing on their own and individualised sport is actually a huge plus for golf. So this is something that we picked up as well, and there seems to be a trend throughout New Zealand, especially in Auckland actually, where there's this centralised delivery model. So you want to play netball in the North Shore, you've got to go to Northcote, you've got to go to the central venue. You want to play hockey, you've got to go to Rosedale. And going, population's growing, and if anyone lives in Auckland up that way, traffic's getting worse. So we're definitely an advocate of take the sport to the people, give it back to the community. Yes, it is more convenient to deliver sports and different things to in central venues because it's easy to administer, but we're actually saying, well, actually, we think that's another major barrier, especially in some of your cities for participation. So, and again, we ask the question, who are we doing this for? Do we really need to drag 7 and 8-year-olds to a central sporting venue to compete against 20, 30 teams when actually they've got 5 or 6 teams in that little cluster that would just do the purpose to let them explore and learn the sport? Yeah, this is actually my own. This is my own comment. Is over-organised, over-coached, and over-pressured, and I think we can all associate with a lot of those areas. As far as we're concerned, with where we're going with golf, we don't want to overcoach. We don't want to overpressure the kids and put them into competitions all the time. And it doesn't have to be overly organised. And I think football's done a great job of this with their after-school football program, where you've got a parent who's not a coach, just has their activity cards and those kind of things. So that's the space that we're thinking in now. Kids can play on their own. Just give them the equipment, give them the space, and they'll go and do a good job of it. Where's the fun gone, basically? Yeah, this is another statistic while we're doing a bit more research, and this came from, I think it was from Canada actually. It's the pay and play, and golf is moving from traditional membership products and services at clubs to more pay and play activities. So they're opening up, it's not just a member-based club. Once you're in, we'll lock the doors and let no one else in. We're actually saying there's people out there that want to pick it up, drop it off, and with regards to the youth, they probably want to do it more than us adults. So we want to let them pick it up whenever they want, go to a different venue, still get the same experience, same quality experience, but actually not as much commitment in what we call, I suppose, an entry product for golf. And the final one, I suppose, what we're saying is we're looking at all these statistics, and we believe we understand them, and really we're trying to adapt what golf provides, what services and products we provide, and working with partners like Snag Golf NZ, the First Tee, if anyone's heard of the First Tee, trying to work with our partners to say, here's the data, the communities and the children are telling us things, how do we, I suppose, mould and create something that's going to fit? And that's a big call for us at the moment in the community space in golf is, does it fit? If it doesn't, what do we need to do to help it fit? So this is another barrier. Obviously, golf is steeped in tradition, and pretty much when a lot of kids, and we have these focus groups as well, that when they talk about golf, it's old and stuffy, as my granddad used to play, all these comments that they're saying, and when we say to them, go to a golf club and this is how you have to dress, the first thing, and one of the biggest comments came back from a couple of second schools in Auckland was, why do I want to dress like my granddad? No, you're right. Why do we have these dress codes and all these things that does it make you a better golfer? We don't think it does. So why can't you? Mates and Bowles have done a great job. Turn up in your jandals and do that kind of thing. So we're really taking on board all the comments that are coming in, and we're trying to adapt. Obviously, what on earth is Snag? Obviously, I'm looking, probably 85% of you are thinking exactly that now, so it was good to get a bit of a stat at the beginning. But rather than David and I tell you about it, we thought we'd let Sir Bob Charles. Anyone know Sir Bob Charles? Phil? Yeah, I didn't actually when I started golf. It's just one of those things. I'm there to help improve the business of golf and the organisation. I wasn't a golfer, a social casual golfer. So I think we've got a bit of a clip here for you.
If Snag Golf isn't meant to be child's play, then thousands of Kiwi kids have a reason to disagree. Snag Golf is a hands-on introduction to the sport that teaches children the basics of golf while keeping them more than entertained. And it's caught the eye of one golfer who's seen a few variations of the sport in his time.
We're struggling to get new people into the game of golf here in New Zealand, and I think this is a good way of starting with the young people. Going into the schools, introducing them to the schools. It's one of the greatest ways to start 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds in the game. It's very safe. They can hit each other over the head with something like this and you're not going to kill them. You can play on the beach, you can play indoors, and I thought, wow, what a way to grow the game.
And there's a few big kids trying their hand too. The hope is that Snag Golf will uncover the next Phil Tucker
Who knows, that could be the start of a great career in the game. But as I say, we've got to get more people involved in the game of golf, and it's to be hoped that once little 5- and 6-year-olds maybe come home from school and tell their parents about it, that maybe they'll become interested in the game and get out there and start playing.
Snag Golf is currently being played in schools and clubs in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch, where the kids are learning the essentials of the sport.
The shape of the grip gives you the perfect grip in golf. You've got your top thumb on the one side, on the flat area, and the bottom hand is on the other side. So you can't grip it incorrectly. The shape of the grip gives you the perfect grip to start with. But here we've got another training device, which I guess this is step 1 or step 2. Coat hanger, so to speak. Putting is basically an arm and shoulder movement. You see, all you're moving is your arm and shoulder, and this helps to keep everything in. So I'll just hit one here, and this is, forgot about the break.
This also gives you the
too soon? Yeah, or you're going to break it about halfway back. So that gets young people or anybody, a learner of golf, the idea of swinging the club correctly through the hitting area.
The future of golf in New Zealand is in good hands, with even the world #1 amateur using snag for target practice.
Do you know about that?
So just when we thought having Bob Charles as a name to endorse, much better than that in golf, and recently now Jack Nicklaus is now partnered with Snag globally, and it snags his choice of the best equipment to use as an introductory product. So that was really good. But for those of you that haven't seen Snag at all, we've only got two clubs, the launcher and the roller. And the whole idea of the modified equipment is that it's supposed to be easy to use for adults, but especially for kids. And with an oversized club, the tennis-like ball, which is the same weight as a golf ball, and then the Velcro target. So this acts as your hole. So we can throw one of the balls back. Here's the ball. So the balls stick to the hole, and once the kids see this, it just becomes quite addictive. And when you look at those other bigger targets up there, they can stand up there, and adults stand up there all day trying to hit the middle of this target. So what we wanted to do was, Kenny was talking about all the barriers to golf, where it's difficult to access because you've only got the clubs to play golf at. It's a difficult game to play. It takes a long time. The perception is it's expensive. We thought by taking it to the community, it removes all those barriers. We're making it easier to play. We're making it, bringing it to the community at their local parks, making it affordable for the community to play, and it can be done in 25 to 30 minutes to play 9 holes of snag. So the project that we're working on with New Zealand Golf and the councils and some of the RSTs in Auckland is to take 9 holes of snag golf out into the community where mum and dad and the kids can come and play on a Sunday afternoon and do it together. Because that's one thing that's unheard of as well. Grandparents playing golf with their kids, or grandkids, is unheard of. And we had an example a few weeks ago where the grandfather came out and said, "Oh, I'll just wait here for you while you go and play. It's just a kid's game." And I said, "Oh, have you ever played golf with your grandson before?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, now's your chance." We actually were at the hills down in Queenstown. I said, "Well, you can say you played at the hills." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I'll do that." And so he had 5 holes. On the second hole, his grandson got a hole in one. And he goes, "I've never got a hole in one." And he said, "This isn't for kids, this is for everyone. You know, where can we do it next?" And that's what we're trying to do.
So, at New Zealand Golf, we're just developing our community golf plan. But we are fixed on some of our, I suppose, our new strategic direction. I wanted to share, because we're marrying this up with reducing the barriers, working with Snag Golf NZ, and where we're going at New Zealand Golf as well. So as you can read there, we truly believe that golf is unique in the fact that you could be just starting the game and you could be a scratch player and you can still play golf together equally and compete, where you're using the handicap system. That's unique. We look at obviously grandparents playing with their kids. There's not many sports that do that. So we look at there's a lot of unique aspects of golf. And what we hear from a lot of golfers who are in their heyday is we've had a lifelong enrichment, and they talk about the friendships that they gather through 4 hours to play, and this is on a good day, 4 hours to play golf. Some people say, "Oh, it's too much time." We actually look at it the other way now. We're spinning a lot of these perceptions on their head and go, actually, whenever the 4 hours of your week, of all those hours you've got, you do it 4 hours, but you also get to meet somebody, you get to talk to them. And I play squash, football, and other sports, and I was asked the question, "How well do you know your teammates?" And I went, "Oh, I know them. He plays left back, he plays centre forward. I think he's got a wife and he's maybe got a daughter. I don't know." I play golf with the same 3 fellas at a golf club, 4 hours where the kids go to university, what job they did have because they were older fellas. I know their wife's name. Some is going fishing. Before you know it, I'm actually going fishing with these guys. So you look at the uniqueness of golf is you know the people you've competed against and played with. So we truly believe that it's lifelong and it's unique. And obviously our vision for golf is it's going to be New Zealand's favourite pastime. And favourite really it's purely quantitative. We want more people playing the game, so we're going to know if it's going to be the favourite. We do know we've got high participation. I think we're up to, using some of the estimated figures, 350,000 casual social golfers who aren't golf members. We've also got 115,000 who are registered golf members. So that's 500,000 of the New Zealand population that have played the game last year. So there's a lot of numbers there, but we don't know for definite. So we're finding out if we're going to say that we're going to be the favourite pastime. How do we know? How do we measure? And how do we increase that?
And that leaves 4 million people that don't play golf. And that's what we think the projects that we're working on together will target, because we want to target families doing something together, because every family has time for. Mothers become volunteer taxi drivers half the time, dropping their kids off at a variety of sports. So on a Sunday, if a whole family can go down and play something together, there's a limited amount of sports that allow you to do that.
Yeah. So I suppose that the mission that to grow the love of golf is pretty much where we came up with the whole idea. This is what everything we do now is will this grow the love of golf. So the project that we've come up together with Snag Golf NZ and New Zealand Golf is the official 9-hole summer series. So we did a pilot. It was in North Harbour. But we wanted to keep it nice and small and really not go out there big and talk to too many people and advertise it too much. We just wanted to work with a few of the schools around there just to test it. We didn't want egg on our face. We actually wanted to go, will they turn up? Will they not? And we really went low key with this just to try it out and get some feedback as well, because the feedback was amazing. And out of the 4 venues that we went to, we only did 3. So we went to Onopoto Domain, Devonport, and as you can see, there was only 3-hour slots. So 3 hours, obviously 9 holes is half an hour or so to do nine holes. It's probably not holes because the council wouldn't let us put holes in the ground. So obviously it's the Velcro flags. But so we did it with 3. We got some really good outcomes. So the key learnings that we got really, the black isn't good on the screen, can it? But this is what we're doing all the time now. We're listening to the data. We're actually going out and getting some first-hand information as well. And we're working with North Harbour, Auckland, Regional Sports Trust, and actually saying to them, you've probably got information that we'd love to know, and you'll be able to develop this into something more tailored for your community. So we're there saying, look, we think we've got something great. How are you going to make it absolutely superb? So we're really there with open to suggestions, flexible, and those kind of things. So and it's starting to work really well with the 4 hours team. We started that conversation, and they're all talking to each other as well. Another key learning is we also know that it's not just at golf clubs, golf can be played, so we've got to take it to the community, and I think that's decentralising, if you know what I mean. So we're definitely seeing that as a huge focus for us this year. Collaboration, we know that's the key to success. Golf's been quite isolated over the last God knows how many years. Been quite privileged in the fact they've had very high membership numbers, a lot of clubs with waiting lists and those kind of things, but we know that collaboration in the community space is the key. So working with Regional Sports Trust, working with Snag Golf NZ, working with golf clubs, trying to pull everyone together because we know the outcomes are accelerated. And obviously the muck around aspect, so we didn't overcoach, we didn't over-organise when they came for the 9-hole Snag series. We said, here you go, have a go, and we have a practice net and practice. So they get to practice before they go out. If you want to practice. If you think you can just get into it and do it, just do it. And once they've had a little practice, they're off. And as you say, mums, dads, parents, brothers, sisters, those kind of things, everyone's just off together. A lot of groups just got on there, give it a blast. There's no right or wrong, and they just got into it, which is, for us, was absolutely superb. It's their first experience of golf.
We had one group, there was the 2 grandparents, the 2 parents, and the 2 girls. One was 9, one was 13. They went round 3 times at Onopoto Domain. Then they followed us to the next week to the next park, and then the following. So 3 weeks in a row they turned up as a whole family of 6 and played and they absolutely loved it. And they said, well, where can we go